Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Well, it seems San Francisco, aka California, is doing it again and forcing everybody to pay reparations for something that they did not do. Of course, this is what they think is deemed as fair, even though obviously the blacks of today have never experienced any sort of actual discrimination in terms of the slaveries and among all other things. Of course, this is not going to stop them because they're all bloody lunatics. Now, this clip here is going to show you exactly on how bad this is, what the actual possibility is going to be, and how white people are again being blamed for things that they did not do, especially over 100 plus years ago. Especially any white person that is being born today, because being born today means you're pretty much an infant, but you still have to pay reparations because, you're white. Take a look at this.
He says this payout is to help make amends for systematic repression, defined as, quoting, intentional and unintended harms perpetrated by city policy, which, if you think about it, opens the door to pretty much everything. Now, to be eligible for the $5 million payout, you must be 18, identify as black or African American for at least 10 years. You can also qualify if you were born in San Francisco between 1940 and 1996. Additionally, you can get the $5 million by being, quote, personally or the direct descendant of someone incarcerated by the failed war on drugs. So if you or a parent was put in prison for, say, dealing drugs from 1971 to roughly 2009, you're eligible. The proposal also would forgive home mortgages, student loans, and credit card debt because, quote, black households have costlier or riskier debt.
Yeah, so that being said, it seems it's not really the greatest idea of doing it, which is a high spectrum of anything that we want to say. And there's going on to say here that they want, again, San Francisco reparations panel pitches $5 million each to black residents. A San Francisco panel studying reparations has proposed a one-time payment of $5 million to each black resident of the city deemed eligible as recompense from the decades of harm they have experienced. According to a report on Monday, a lump sum payment would compensate the affected population and will readdress the economic opportunity losses that black San Francisco fractions have endured. Collectively, as a result of both intentional decisions and unintended harms perpetrated by city policy, the San Francisco African American Reparations Advisory Committee said in a draft report issued last month, Fox News just reported. The proposal could cost the city, which has 22 to 2033 budget of $14 billion, roughly $50 billion, the Daily Mail reported. The committee also proposed wiping out all debts associated with education or personal credit card and payday loans for black households. The 15-member panel was established by San Francisco in May 2021. A separate task force created by California's legislature is also studying reparations. The city's group says reparation must be adequate, effective, prompt, and should be proportional to the gravity of violations and the harm suffered. It added that members of the black community demand reparations not to remedy the enslavement, but to address the public policies, especially created to subjugate black people in San Francisco by upholding and expanding the intent and legacy of the chattel slavery. The report notes that while neither California nor San Francisco Forum adopted the institution of chattel slavery, other aspects of segregation like white supremacy and systemic repression found in the legal system, social codes, and extrajudicial actions were designed to exclude blacks. To be initially eligible, applicants must be 18 and show that they have identified as black or African American on the public documents for at least 10 years, which we have gone over as well. So, they must also prove that they meet 2 out of 8 additional standards, including being born having migrated to San Francisco between 1940 and 1996. Which again, all these people that are black have never suffered from, may have suffered racism, but they have not suffered any kind of slavery whatsoever. That was abolished long ago. And on top of that, white people of today have done nothing with slavery at all. So there's also that. But let's even take this into our perspective. Let's take this into perspective of what the actual cost they may be and what state that California is in. Now, I think the Daily Mail is lowballing it. Because it says the proposal cost the city, which has 2022 to 2023 budget of $14 billion, roughly $50 billion, the Daily Mail reported. I think it's going to cost them way more than that. Because it says the budget of $14 billion, roughly $50 billion. what we should call the city. Well, let's do it here. We have 815,000 people as of 2021 that are living in San Francisco. All right, this is 815,000. Now we take this percentage, and we have about 5.1% of African Americans. So we have that here. Now this is just counting the African Americans. All right. So we go here with the African Americans of 5% of 815,000. Okay, so you have 40,750. Now you have, this is the amount of people that would be technically what we would assume black people in San Francisco, right? This is 5%. 5.1, so it's a little bit less, but you understand what I'm saying. Now we have this. This would be pretty much, because they're talking about 5 million. So what you do is you times the 5 million times 5 million with 40,000, you get 200 billion. It's significantly more than this 14 billion or roughly 50 billion, which is way more than they're asking wanting here. So it's 200 billion. This is how much they want people to pay. 200 billion. Well, where is this money going to come from? I know San Francisco doesn't have this, because that's not a number that a lot of states don't have. It's just 200 billion just lying around there. Now, guys, that's a lot of money. And even if you say that, okay, well, you're lying, your math is wrong, JM reports, it wouldn't be 200 billion. Okay, well, if it's more, that's worse. And if it's still low, 50 billion or 14 billion, that's still a massive amount of money for 5% of the population of San Francisco. Now we're going to go over here. Budget whiplash. California faces $25 billion deficit. So even still, if you want to say that that's not a problem, well, even if we went with the lowest ball, guys, the lowest of the actual amount of money, it's 14 billion. Okay, guys, it's 14 billion just for that. 14 billion. Then you would go with maybe is 50 billion, which is 25 billion over the actual amount that we have. That we're in a deficit. We're in the hole. We're in debt by 25 billion. Then we add this as well with the highest ball. It's 200 billion. How do you pay all those black people that amount of money? It's absurdity in the highest form, guys. This is insanity. We don't have the money. The United States doesn't have the money to pay the 13% of black people, by the way, of what would be reparations. So they're living in a fantasy land. They'll never get this money. It won't be seen because they don't have it. And if they do try to do it, it would immediately put San Francisco in a hole that they would never, ever, 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 ever get out of at all. They would never be able to pay for anything. They'll be in 250 billion, 200 million, 200 billion in a hole. It's absurdity. And again, this is all form of, we want reparations, we want this, we've been discriminated against. No, you haven't. The only people that may have been discriminated against at all would be from the 1960s and below, where they were discriminated against racism. However, this was not due to slavery, because that was not a thing that happened to people. White people today are not the cause of slavery, or had slaves in modern times, and black people were not slaves in today of modern times. So it's complete insanity. They're trying to cater to the woke mob and get more black people to vote for them, but in all reality, they don't have the money. They're playing the race card. They're playing black people for fools, and just to make sure you get their votes, and that's all you guys are, is a vote for them. Well, guess what? That to be mistaken to you. We're being played as fools. They don't have the money, and we're all being. And honestly, it only takes a little bit of math and intelligence to do this. All right, guys. That's it for the video. Like, subscribe, share. As always, take care.